Skeleton Crew is a Goonies-inspired romp through the stars, featuring adorable adventurers getting into
And there is a need for new leadership. There is a need for a new vision. And I feel that um, this is the right time with everything that's going on in the world. There's more important things going on in the world, but this has definitely been a shakeup in Hollywood. The runner-ups that I heard through the grapevine have been Dave Filoni, who's worked on, he did great work on the Clone Wars. He worked on Mandalorian, and Jon Favreau. And Jon Favreau, from actor to producer to director to now showrunner to maybe executive. Those rumors of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau let me know that they don't intend to have another woman at the helm again. My sister told me this, and I very much believe her. More than likely, Disney will pick Dave Filoni. Um, Jon Favreau, he seems to be highly creative. Um, he marches to the beat of his own drum. When he feels like doing something, he does it. And usually 9 times out of 10, he knocks it out of the park. So I don't know if he wanted to be tied down as executive, but who knows? Who knows? But the point is, Star Wars used to be an evergreen property. No matter what it did, it made money, and it made fans happy. And under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, that has waned considerably. There are some things that I heard that either she did not listen to George Lucas' suggestions, or they kicked him out of the room. The things with the numerous novels and serialized books that were out, and they just kind of like chucked those into a shredder and went their own way. This whole push for Ray Palpatine leading the next generation of Star Wars. I hate the term wokeism. I hate that term. But it just seems like there was an agenda similar to how it was with The Witcher, and that agenda superseded the creative and business decisions at the company. And much like Marvel, um, they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a plan. They were just flying by the seat of their pants, using the name to kind of jettison whatever IP they wanted to think at the moment. And, it made money. They did a Disney Plus channel, and just The Mandalorian came out, and that did initially really, really well. And then they just let it just rot. They just started inputting OC characters from Clone Wars. They started, taking away from the Mandalorian in his own show. He was playing a side character in his own show. And that kind of proliferated throughout every single series. Every single series had an agenda. Every single series seemed to have its own take away from the source material. And we were focusing on messages instead of just entertainment, instead of content. And yes, there's a lot of racism. Yes, there was a lot of sexism from both fans and the company. Yeah. But I feel this is a chance to kind of start from ground one and move on. Um, I don't want to retread the Skywalker line. We've done that before, but I'm not totally out of the entire idea of it. I think any idea that brings back fans, that makes people believe in Star Wars again, is valuable. I think what Acolyte did was commendable. I like the show. Were there things that were not so great? Yeah, but they're very small. 9 times out of 10, you hear things on Twitter, you hear things on YouTube, and they're blown out of proportion. When you actually sit down and look at a thing, or read a thing, or listen to a thing, it's not that bad. And The Acolyte was not bad. There's some room for it to grow. There's some room for it to be smoothed out. And would I want every show to be Andor? Yeah, in my heart of hearts, yeah. But I can recognize when something has potential. And I think Kathleen Kennedy stepping down when there's projects that are kind of drip feeding from Star Wars, instead of having every year, every day a new Star Wars property. I think this was like a best decision on her part. I think this was stand-up decision on her part. She recognized that, you know, I've carried this thing as far as I can go, um, and I'm gonna let somebody new take the helm. And I hope it's somebody who has a vision. I hope it's somebody who really cares about the property, and is willing to push it into the next generation for another 20, 50, 100 years, whatever. But yeah, it's a mixed bag on how I feel. I'm not sad, but I understand. You know, you gotta step away. You gotta step away. So, yep. This news was announced very early this morning. I think after 12 a.m. That Kathleen Kennedy is leaving Lucasfilms. So that's all I wanted to say. Um, Thank you for tuning in. And we can get back to my video. So.
Skeleton Crew is a Goonies-inspired romp through the stars, featuring adorable adventurers getting into escapades. Quite honestly, Neil's my favorite character, but I'm getting off topic. So let me get back on it. I loved it, but there's a character who intrigued me the most. A rogue by the name of Ja Na Nanwood. Ja, played exquisitely by Jude Law, Ja's character is among the first the crew encounters on their first adventure. However, some members of the Skeleton Crew immediately do not trust him. Ja's shadiness and rough around the edge personality hide the fact that there is more to this man's story than meets the eye. Throughout the series, a character of the Skeleton Crew named Wim is enamored by Ja. Wim loves adventure. More importantly, he loves the Jedi. Ja, over the course of the tale, demonstrates his use of the Force, and everyone, including myself, believes he actually is a Jedi. However, in episode 8, Wim and the audience get an idea that Ja is definitely not a Jedi. Ja has repeatedly lied, stolen, cheated the young adventurers of the Skeleton Crew. What was most fascinating to me was not that Wim finally understood that Ja was not a hero. It was Ja's reply to Wim.
You're no Jedi. You lied. And now, the real good guys are coming.
The good guys. No one's coming to save you, boy! Grow up! That's not...
When I was your age, all I cared about was not starving. I was living in a hole in the ground, and a Jedi found me. She may have been desperate and ragged like me, but she told me I had potential. And that was... well... she only taught me a little before they hunted her down, and they made me watch whilst they killed her. That's the galaxy. It's dark, with a few pinpricks of light.
It was never explicitly stated that Ja was around during Order 66. However, it was the trauma that he endured that fascinated me and was the reason why I wanted to make this video. Today, we're diving into a dark chapter of the Star Wars saga, Order 66. Could this tragic event become an incredible movie or anthology television series? Let's explore what has all the makings of a gripping story. Let's get to it. The narrative potential of Order 66 is out of this world. A series on Order 66 could explore multiple perspectives, like Jedi survivors trying to evade capture and coming to terms with their betrayal, clone troopers dealing with their actions after regaining their free will, civilians experiencing chaos as peacekeepers fall, loved ones who actually gave their children over to the Jedi Order coming to grips with their loss, or a child who has survived coming back home from the Jedi Order to seek vengeance upon their family. Now, it may be a little hokey, but we can even put in a Romeo and Juliet aspect where a Sith, unbeknownst, falls in love with a Jedi, finds out at the cost of their lives or capture. The point is, this multifaceted approach would allow us to see the true impact of this event across the galaxy. Shows like Andor have proven you can elevate the material of Star Wars by providing another perspective. Order 66 will provide a chance to explore emotional depth. The betrayal and loss at the heart of Order 66 provide rich material for character development. We could witness the severing of bonds between Jedi and their clone companions, the trauma faced by young Jedi who actually survived, and the moral conflict within clones as they grapple with their actions. These elements could create powerful character arcs that resonate with viewers. One example of emotional depth that sticks with me is the character Bodhi Akuna from the beloved, awesome video game Star Wars, Jedisurvivor. Bodhi is a mercenary who partners with the main hero, Cal Kestis. Their friendship in the beginning is on full display, but throughout the game, we uncover that Bodhi is not only a spy, but a former Jedi turned Sith. And that after being on the run for so many years from the death of his wife, who was killed by Inquisitors, Bodhi made a deal with the Imperial Security Bureau to hunt Jedi for the safety of his daughter. Bodhi is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars because his story is about what happens to a hero who has lost everything. Bodhi was willing to kill his former Jedi brothers and sisters to not only survive, but make a way for his daughter. In essence, the game is more about him than it is about Cal Kestis, or even Dagan Gera, who was, in my opinion, shortchanged in the game. Order 66 could provide a chance to explore darker tones and themes. A series focused on Order 66 could embrace a darker tone or theme than Star Wars. This would allow for exploration of complex themes like betrayal and survival, intense action sequences with higher stakes, and a fresh perspective that appeals to an adult audience. Jad and Narwood witnessed the death of his mentor, a person Jad describes as looking almost ragged and desperate as he was when he was a child. In the face of evil and horror, what is a child, let alone an adult, to do? Jad made a conscious decision in the face of that tragedy. The decision to never be on the losing side ever again. To never be a victim, and to take what he wants from whoever he wants, come what may. There's already significant fan interest in exploring Order 66. The Clone Wars and the series Bad Batch have been praised for its portrayal of this event. So, could a movie or TV series about Order 66 be successful? In my opinion, abso-fucking-lutely. With its rich narrative potential, emotional depth, darker tone, and existing fan interest, it could offer a unique and poignant addition to the Star Wars universe. One of the lines that Jaw says to Wim towards the end of that scene always sticks out to me. It almost reminds me of the True Detective last lines. Jaw says,
That's the galaxy. It's dark, with a few pinpricks of light.
The series or film of Order 66 will allow us to explore those small, tiny pinpricks of light, fighting for justice, fighting for love, fighting for survival, fighting for a lost cause or a cause that's local to them, and the impending, all-encompassing, heavy as hell darkness that surrounds them, of betrayal, of death, of violence, of oppression. That weight just colliding, and just those little small embers, those little small pinpricks of light fighting against that, or hiding, I think there's not only fan interest, I think a lot of people would come out and see that. I think a lot of people would be for that if they saw it in a more mature tone in a movie theater, or like I said, if it's an anthology series. I think an anthology series has a lot more runway because you're able to kind of slow down in the pace of the way you want to tell your stories. Now, I know Netflix and Disney Plus, they like to keep things around 8 episodes, but I feel just making something maybe 12 episodes a season or more would allow us to get really in depth with the characters, with the worlds, with the situation and the pathos that these characters encounter. I would love to see a series talking about Bodhi, and, meeting his wife and taking care of his daughter Kata. I would love to see a series of us, running into Cal Kestis. Cal Kestis was alive during Order 66. He was there when, the shit went down, and it would be great to have a series or a series of vignettes or even a movie of, Jedi Fallen Order. There's many ways we can play it, but, okay, I probably talked long enough, so I leave it back to you. What do you feel? Would you love to see a series discussing Order 66, or would you prefer a film? Let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate it. And like I always say, make sure you take care of yourself, take care of each other. Cabs out.